Welcome to the Four Corners Radio Network, Sports News with Noud. I'm here with a very special guest, a six-time veteran NFL player, founder of RIP Performance, area director for Loudoun Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Cliff Russell. How are you doing, Cliff?
I'm doing fantastic. Podcast listeners, it's exciting to be here just to dive into my journey as a football player turned gym owner and now area director for Fellowship of Christian Athletes. How's everybody doing?
Couldn't have said it better myself, Cliff, but we got to get right into it. And the first thing I need to ask, so everybody has a different story when they talk about, like, oh, I was playing Little League, I knew I was faster than everybody, I was bigger, I was stronger. What was that moment for you where you were like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this game called football, and I was ready to take that next step, get prepared, maybe make it to the college ranks, to the NFL ranks?
Well, man, I got to go all the way back to just my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I have so much just respect, honor, and love for my parents.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, not only because they gave birth to me, but I'm the middle child of 7 kids.
Right.
You know, military brat, and man, I fell in love with football at a young age. 8 years old when I first started playing, and honestly, man, I did not like the game.
Really?
I did not like the game
why?
at all.
Too many hard hits?
I can't really say why the reason was, but I did not like it. My dad made me do it. He forced me to play, and every day I just dreaded it. Every day we went to practice. But the next year, he actually put me in track.
Oh, nice.
So he got me with a track coach. He was a former Olympic sprint coach.
Okay.
And he started a program and had us young kids a part of it. He worked us, man. So he taught us just the importance of hard work, discipline.
Right.
And from that, I really developed just the ability to run.
Right.
You know, got in great shape. The next year, I actually went back to football. And you know, after coming out of track, developed some speed that a hidden gift that I didn't think I had.
You were just blowing by kids, huh?
Blowing by it. So they was like, this kid's pretty fast. So you know what they're thinking, right? As a coach, let's put the ball in his hand.
Go vert route and just hit him right in the stride.
I played running back, so it was right through the two.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
First time I touched the ball, scored that touchdown, the rest was history.
Listen, as a guy who used to play defensive lineman because I was really big, if I saw a guy like you run into the wall, I'd be so pissed. So there you go. But that's great to hear. So now you talked about your upbringing as a military brat. You went from Fayetteville, North Carolina to, I think it was Maryland, but you ended up playing high school ball in Hawaii. How was that experience playing in Hawaii? And then once your high school career was over, the recruiting process, and then you ended up playing for the Utes at the University of Utah.
Yeah. I finished high school on a beautiful island of Oahu. And in Hawaii, man, there's really 3 walks of life.
Really?
If you think about it. 3 walks of life in Hawaii. One, either you kind of hang loose. Anybody been to Hawaii before? You kind of know that. You kind of hang loose and just kind of go to the beach and just hang out. 2, mixed martial arts is huge there. So you're into mixed martial arts. Or 3, you play football.
Really?
So football is huge on the island of Hawaii. I mean, the town would shut down to watch the game. So it was huge, man. So enjoyed the opportunity to play out there. Everybody know who's the safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Troy Polamalu, of course. Long hair.
So in Hawaii, man, there's probably 10 Troy Polamalu you never heard about. Of course, that's the town out there on the island. But I would say, really, man, my first defining moment happened when I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
That kind of really changed and set the trajectory of my life to be the first member of my family really to play, college sports. Was my junior year, and I'll go into this story. I really only played 1 year of high school football.
I did not know that. That's something I did not see.
1 year, man. My junior year, I did not see the field. Played running back, and I was on what's called the scout team. I don't know if you are familiar with the scout team. So I played a lot of the scout team, and I would help at running back. And man, I did not like being in that position playing scout
course.
team. I mean, our defense was one of the top defenses on the island, so pretty much I would get my butt kicked every day at the running back position.
But going with that defense, I mean, kicking your butt every day, being the top defense that junior year, prepared you for your senior year. You became one of those outstanding players and being considered a D1 athlete at that time.
It did, but I did not know that yet. You know, been in that position, and you know, honestly, I wanted to quit.
Right.
One week, the coach was like, "Cliff, be prepared to play. You're going to go in this game." So, have a great week of practice on scout team. Get to that game. Last minute and 20 seconds left in the game. All right, Cliff, you go in. That's not a lot of time to showcase anything.
Of course not.
So I get in there, I make a play, get tackled, the game's over. Man, I was furious. I was like, man, this is it. I'm gonna tell the coach tomorrow, I'm hanging up the cleats. This game must not be for me.
Right.
It's not working out for me.
Right.
But you know what? It's like that quiet voice you hear inside, like, don't quit. Give it another shot. Keep
Right.
going.
Right.
But not only did I not quit, I turned the tables on the situation I was currently in.
Right.
I went out there and I started to treat practices as if it was a game.
Right.
So I made it a point from that point moving forward to make the top defense in the state look bad every day.
I love it.
So it didn't matter where I was at on the field. I would sprint all the way to the end zone. 20 yards, sprint to the end zone. If it was 100 yards, I would sprint all the way to the end zone. No matter where we were on the field, I had a chip on my shoulder. And the coaches and the team would begin to recognize, like, man, what got into Cliff?
Right.
You know, I was determined to not give up on my commitment as a football player and really my desire to know that I had what it takes to play Division I football.
Right.
You know, and I had that childhood dream of one day playing in the NFL.
And I think also what you were talking about with like just that hard work, that discipline coming from like your upbringing as a military grad and everything, that quiet voice grew and grew in your head, and you were just like, man, I'm pretty good at this if I give it one more shot, you know? And then, lo and behold, the Utes came and picked you up. Was there a reason you picked Utah over? Was there other schools that you were thinking? What was like the recruitment process for you? Because it's definitely different now with NIL and all that stuff. But what was that recruitment process looking like for you?
Well, I guess I kind of cut off the finishing piece of that story.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Of course.
Got the colleges to kind of recognize my talent.
Yeah.
Was, you know, at the end of that junior year, you know, during the awards ceremony, they give out awards, right?
Right.
So, you know, you get, you know, best player of the year, what have you, top offensive player, top defensive player. The award that I received was Scout Team Player of the Year. You know, that's one of those awards you kind of hold under your
It's like,
you know, you hold that under your
Thanks for that,
jacket.
man.
Like, hey, what award did you get? Scout Team Player of the Year. You know, I was honored to receive it, but I was
Right.
like, I really didn't know how to
You didn't know if I should put that on the mantle.
Exactly. Exactly. But, you know, I mention that because a year later,
Right.
I go through my senior year. My head coach, he stops me before I you know, went home after that award ceremony. Perseverance.
Of course.
I mean, he was a great team player.
Right.
He said, hey, going into your senior year, you're the starting running back.
No way.
He said, don't let anybody take your position.
Right.
So I didn't have to go into camp and compete based upon what I did my prior year, have won me the position. But if I had quit, Mike,
Who knows where you'd be
who
now?
knows where I would be
Yeah,
right
exactly. Exactly.
You know?
It goes back to what everybody talks about. Those athletes always talk about the work that you put in. Somebody's going to notice sooner or later.
Absolutely, man. So I get to, you know, I go through our senior year,
Right.
go to the championship game. I set all types of school records as a running back on the island. So full circle, we have an award ceremony, right, at the end of the year.
Right.
prior to that year, I got the scout team player. Guess what award I received?
Because I read it, most outstanding player.
My man does his research.
I do my research. But that's amazing. I didn't know, because when I read it, I didn't know you didn't start junior year. I thought you started all 3 years.
No.
I mean, sophomore, junior, and senior year. So knowing that you went from a scout team player, basically a person that would just help the other guys get ready, to now the guy that people plan for, is insane. Is a crazy, crazy jump that not a lot of people can make, and you made it. So
Yeah, I mean, it was, man, it's surreal. I mean, when you go through it now, looking back, it's like, man, I'm able to share that with so many young athletes.
Right.
You know, don't make a decision right now based upon, you know, how your emotions feel. I think
Exactly.
in a way, because, you know, at the end of the day, when you look at it, you know, you've been prepared, you've been developed for where life's going to take you later on. So,
Right.
as a young athlete in high school, you know, I already went through the lesson. You know, what resilience really looks like.
Right.
You know, what determination really looks like, and most importantly, what it means to stay committed.
Right.
You know, when things are not going your way. So I kind of, you know, I was able to live that, and you know, it prepared me for that next level. Being recruited.
Right.
You know, going through all that, and which landed me at the University of Utah.
Absolutely. Now I have to ask the question. Fastest man in Utah history, 4.2, 40. Unbelievable. Like, when you ran that, did you believe you could be that fast? Like, I know you knew you were fast probably, but 4.2, 40? Like, that is insane. Like, what was, like, how did that happen? You also did, like, I think it was like 400 in squats. I was like, man, this guy was a super freak in the sense of, like, his athleticism. So I had to ask, 4.2, was that real, or are they embellishing a little bit?
No, it's real. It's real. You know, with my parents, man, they really instilled in my brothers and sisters and I to really a number of things that made me who I am today.
Right.
One, definitely hard work.
Right.
You know, revere God. You know, and if you have focused discipline, you know, you give yourself a huge opportunity to be successful. Absolutely. Whatever you put your mind to in life.
Right.
So I kind of had that attitude growing up. I went into Utah. Everybody comes into college as a freshman.
Right.
Saying, man, I run 4.3,
Yeah.
4.4. So everybody's looking at me like, yeah, right. Yeah, you don't run 4.3. So I came in actually as a freshman and went through scout team, went through our spring football.
Right.
As I said, I played running back, right?
Right.
I came in and recruited me as a running back. So I go in and I run my first 40, and I was like a 4.35, 4.36 as a freshman.
Right.
So on my way out, my receiver coach like, hey Cliff, I want to talk to you. And he's so I play running back. He's like, hey, we're gonna switch your
Receiver. So you see that when you made that switch, did you find it difficult, or did you feel like you could naturally catch that ball, be able to run the routes, juke a little bit left and right on these corners, get into the seam route? Like, what was that transition like? Did you take that as like, God's giving me the next challenge in my life, so here I am, I'm going to prove that I can do this wide receiver position people believe I can do?
Oh man, it was challenging.
Yeah.
And honestly, I did not like the change.
Right.
I was a running back my whole life,
Right.
my whole football career up until that moment, and man, it was tough. You know, it's more than just running and catching the football.
Right. Right.
You got to learn offense, you got to learn defense, defensive schemes. You have to be able to break down, running full speed.
Right.
You know how to learn that you're not running full speed every time. Every time you have to throttle down, you got to find open windows. So it was a little frustrating, but you know, I had to recognize that, hey, this is the position in which they need me to play to be able to contribute. And I just said, hey, if I'm going to be a receiver, I'm going to work to be the best receiver that I can be. Of course, if I did it, I'll play at the next level. It's just more of a, hey, this is where I am. This is an opportunity for me to, take on the challenge and try to work in the field.
Right. And I think you probably give that coach a gift basket right about now for switching you to receiver. But then you became an All-American candidate, and then you were playing in the Las Vegas Bowl, and you were the most outstanding player. So those accolades got you to where you were. So now it's your senior year, everything's done. You did all you could at Utah, now it's the NFL time. how was that grueling process of like pro day and meeting with coaches and getting ready to just hear that your name on draft night?
Man, it's a long journey.
Right.
You know, from your senior year, like you said, you go through the bowl games, and then, you know, you begin to have the letters come and say, hey, you have a shot to go into the NFL.
Right.
You know, you don't just the next day get drafted.
Right.
You know, you go through a whole process of evaluation. So I was invited to the NFL Combine,
Right.
which, man, they look at everything. Old injuries, they're going to assess that. You have a knee injury, they're going to try to break your knee to see
Right.
if it's intact. You know, they're looking at all the injuries and checking your skill set, your mindset, all those things have been, you know, evaluated at that time.
Right.
So at that moment, you step into the world of, you know, into business.
Right.
They want to see, you know, how much of an investment can we make into this guy. So that's why character is very important. You know, they're going to look at, hey, are there any issues with this kid? So, so that whole process was a journey. Very exhausting journey. Also played in the Senior Bowl, so it was just a lot to that day. Draft day, man, is the longest day of my life.
I was going to ask you, so draft day comes. It's rounds 2 through 3 now. What were you feeling on that day, and then how joyous was that moment when you get a call? I'm going to guess. I'm guessing Coach Sperrier is the one who called you, but I don't know if he was the one, but how joyous was that moment that finally, that all you've worked for, that call came, you're with your family, friends, high school buddies, college buddies. How was that moment?
Oh, man, it was a moment. It was a moment. It was a long day. Like I said, you're hearing all types of projections. Hey, you can go on anywhere between first and third round.
Right.
So you're seeing the rounds just go by. Your name's not being called. Okay, first round goes by, second round goes by. You're kind of leaning in. Your name don't get called. You know, but finally the phone rang, and yeah, it was Steve Spurrier. And man, I was just excited to get that course, be able to step into kind of the next phase of life, to be a professional athlete.
Of course. And then, unfortunately for your rookie year, you had the ACL tear. How was that to finally make it, and then another setback come in? Like, what was your mindset? It's like, damn, my ACL is gone. Like, what do I do now? Like, what was the preparation that you put in your mind to say, I'm going to come back better than ever? Because I am a third-round draft pick. All these guys got picked before me. I got to prove people wrong.
I mean, that was a devastating moment. Yeah, I mean, you, like I said, you get drafted, you come to a new town, a new city, and man, you have all types of hopes and dreams, thinking you're gonna be a superstar, and maybe one day put on that Hall of Fame jacket. You know, you're going through the process as a new professional athlete. You know, all-season workouts. You know, getting introduced to the strength and conditioning program. Going through OTAs, mini camps, and all that, and you're stepping into your first training camp. And as a rookie, for me, coming in with the amount of speed that I had, you know, there were a lot of talks that I was going to be in the equation. And as a rookie, so I mean, it was devastating. In your third day of training camp, back then we had 2 a day. I don't know what that's called now.
Now it's just they're putting these Guardian helmet ons. I don't even know what they're doing. They're not playing football. That's it.
Exactly. So man, I'm in the third day of training camp, the second to the last play. And I'm in the huddle. So I get my number called. So I know the ball's coming to me. Break the huddle, go out to the line of scrimmage, and I ran this route 100 thousands of times. I stick my foot in the ground and I tear my ACL. And man, that was a moment of, you know, I've been injured before, but not to the point to where I'm going to be sidelined for the entire career. You know, and an injury that's known to kind of diminish, you know, your performance as an athlete, playing wide receiver. So I would say that was probably my lowest moment at that time as a young man.
Of course. And it's not like nowadays where, I hate to say, you tear your ACL, you're back in 6 months somehow. It's like they took you under the knife and they had to rebuild it from scratch, I felt like. So you recover from your injury. You're playing now. There's one play in particular I do want to ask. Tim Hasselbeck back to pass, outlet pass to you on the right. You're playing the Eagles. A guy named Brian Dawkins comes and picks you up and body slams you. I just have to ask, what were you thinking in that moment? Did you think that Tim had you kind of wide open, you were going to run for 90 yards? And what did you see when you saw Hall of Famer Brian Dawkins just ready to just annihilate you when you got the ball?
Man, I was trying to forget about that play.
I'm sorry, I had to bring it up. We have Eagles fans on the chat that wanted to know. So
And I thought you were saying, hey man, how was that play when you in college and you had that 90-yard touchdown? This guy brings up the Brian Dawkins body slam.
I had to.
But I'm gonna say it was an honor and a privilege to be body slammed by a Hall of Famer like
Of course.
someone I have so much respect for. But man, I was just happy to be out there, man. Get on the field, make a play, catch it, and man, I don't know what was hurt worse, my feelings or my body. All I remember seeing was lights.
Right.
You know, my lights and my feet was like, that's my feet. But I mean, it was great, man. Just to be out there,
Right.
playing a kid's game.
Right.
Out there, just looking back, it's just like it's funny. I can laugh about it now. My friends, they give me a hard time about it.
You were telling me Philly fans, huh?
A lot of Philly friends,
Of course.
fans. So
Yeah.
but man, it was just great to be out there.
Awesome. And then you ended up from the Redskins, then you played a little with the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Broncos. In those stints, you did play for some incredible coaches. You played for Mike Shanahan, Nick Saban. What were the different philosophies that those coaches instilled in you, character-wise, that made you into who you are today? Because those are Hall of Fame coaches. Those are legends of the game.
Absolutely, man. Man, each team has a different culture.
Yeah.
You know, on there, and you know, I was a journeyman, so I was able to kind of take something from each coach that I can learn from. You know, some coaches I won't, put them out there. Some of them, they have their way of coaching.
Exactly.
To get the best out of the players. So
Yeah.
I always sit in those situations and say, hey, there's something that I can learn from anyone, really.
Right.
You can learn from anyone.
Right.
You can take some stuff, you can kind of filter through.
Right.
But I also had an opportunity to be coached by Joe Gibbs as well.
Oh, yeah.
Spur, he
Yeah.
left. But Steve Spur was a guy. He was a tremendous college head coach. I had a lot of respect for. I was a Seminole fan. I used to want to be a Seminole fan. I remember the rivalry there.
Of course.
And be able to be coached by Steve Spur was, he was all about speed.
Right. The fun and gun offense.
Fun and gun.
Yeah.
Pitch and catch.
Yeah.
And it was all about it. So it was a great opportunity to get out there, be coached by Steve Spurrier, get out there and show the speed. He loved it. But from there, I went on to be coached by the Bengals.
Yep.
Under Marvin Lewis. Great coach. Man of faith, man of great character as well. Left there, went up to Miami. First season with Nick Saban, was one of the best college coaches.
Was that the year Dante Culpepper was the quarterback too?
Culpepper was the quarterback at that time, so he could lay it out there.
He can throw the rock. He can throw the ball.
Absolutely, you couldn't outrun that ball. So.
Yeah, and then you're a speedster, so you were right there catching everything.
Absolutely.
He was telling people his knee was doing okay. You were telling the same thing, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I go on and with Denver, finish my career there with Mike Shanahan, which is good, man. I would say the biggest thing I learned was, I believe it was Shanahan that said it kind of stuck with me. He talked about how the importance of your character.
Yeah.
He said, guys, here's the deal. He said your character can always protect your talent.
Right.
That was one thing that stuck. And then Joe Gibbs. I had the opportunity to sit in a meeting with Joe Gibbs, and man, it was just so impactful what he had to say. He said, guys, here's the deal. You want to be successful in life.
Right.
He said, you have to have these things. He said, number one, you got to put God first.
Of course.
Number two, your family. Your family comes second. He said, number three, your friends. Then he said, number four, then football.
Right.
So I never heard that before from a coach, but I believed it. I was just really honored to be able to sit here, someone in his caliber. We know that, the history of Joe Gibbs, of course, just say that, but that's something I carry on in my life even today.
Right.
It's that balance we're always trying to discover, right? It's that balance. When these priorities are out of sync and out of position, out of place, that's when we kind of just feel uneasy, right? We got to always recalibrate to where God's first, then your family, your friends, and then whatever it is that you have your hands to do.
Exactly. And I mean, man of faith myself, I know God, when you don't put him first, he'll let you know that he's not first right now. And he'll put you back in your place saying, hey, come on back, that this is a gift. I'm giving you a gift. And I can I'm giving you a gift because I know you can handle it. And that's what I think he gave you with football. And I mean, it led you into your second life, right? Your second career with Rip Fitness and the Christian Fellowship of Athletes. So tell me more about what you guys are doing with both things. Like, what are you doing with both?
Well, I'll go back to what you said, man. You're spot on with that in terms of, man, God has a way of course, when you're out of alignment to get you back in alignment. So I had the ACL injury, and at the time, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me, of course. But looking back now, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if it wasn't for that injury, I never would have discovered who I really am in God, in Christ. So it was because of that injury, I never would have known that, man. I had all these other priorities. I was ahead of God,
right?
And football, which was very important, was one of those things. So it was temporarily moved out of the way, and I was able to kind of have my eyes open and see the areas in which I was lost and empty. Right. He was able to come in and fill that because of that injury that I sustained. So it was like now on the journey in which I live now, my faith in Christ has always been with me on this journey leading up to me leaving the gridiron to stepping into be the proud founder of RIP Performance.
Right.
Which is an acronym that stands for respect, integrity, passion, purpose every day. That was just an honor to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So rewarding. Not just helping people achieve their athletic prowess or what have you in their sport, but man, just the many opportunities to be able to just build relationships with family. We have some here with the families, and man, I have so many nieces and nephews out there in the county of Loudoun. Of course, really, I'm able to see them and how they're developing, not only as athletes but men and women as well. And man, that's just an awesome privilege to now stepping into something that I really believe that I've been built for, just from my journey of life from Hawaii, the experiences I had there.
Right.
Exercising resilience. And it took faith to carry me through to the next phase, to being in Utah, coming in, running a 4.2, having my position change,
right.
Going through adversity and all those things. 'Cause one thing I do truly believe is that adversity is the entry point to greatness.
Of course.
I really do believe that. A lot of times we don't feel right when we're in situations that are dire or setbacks, but you got to understand that those are the moments in which you're being made. It's when you're in fire, like you look at gold, you look at silver, and those things, they have to go under intense heat. They have to go under uncomfortable situations just to rid itself of those impurities so that its value can be increased. So all those moments of life, of the fire, and the testing, and the burning, and all those situations of adversity kind of been developing me into the man I am now, and I'm able to step into now kind of my calling in life.
Right.
You don't hear that word, but it's a calling. That thing in which you were purposed for, stepping into really is, just investing my time, my passion into the next generation of athletes and coaches and families, helping them grow spiritually, in the walk in Christ and become and reach their full potential,
Right.
as individuals.
Right. And I mean, as you can see from over here to the left, I mean, you've impacted a lot of people. So it must be rewarding doing that, and doing it here in Loudoun, where we have so many great athletes that came through here, and you helping them and getting to where they need to be. I mean, it's just an honor and a privilege to hear that you did all this. But what's coming down the pipeline? What can we expect from what you're doing next? Where can we find you, and what can we expect from Cliff Russell?
Man, what you can expect now is really the goal here through FCA is to win our county.
Right.
Really, if you can envision just a community where we have athletes who are not only skilled athletes, but they're also individuals of unwavering faith, resilience, all grounded in faith. Is the community that we want to build. So we have some events that are coming up. The next big event that we have is coming up this spring, May 20th. It's our first ever coming to Loudoun County, our Celebrity Pro-Am Golf Tournament.
Okay.
It's going to be located at Belmont Country Club. I have some of my friends coming out.
Okay.
Name drop. We got Steve Smith Sr. is going to be coming
There you
out.
go.
Kevin Dicey and a number of other NFL players. We have some amateur and PGA Tour golfers that are going to come out and participate as well. So for information on that, you can go to www.fca.org to learn more about that. We have some flyers here. I'd love to hand those out as well.
Absolutely.
But you come volunteer. You can be a sponsor. You can participate if you like, if you're a golfer.
Listen, if you need somebody to yell out the names and be a caddy, I'm here. Don't worry. I would love to hear Steve Smith talk a little trash on the golf course. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be great.
Yeah. But every aspect of that is really to really enhance and impact our youth through a great cause of FCA, just to expand what we're doing all across the county. So every detail of this golf outing, this golf tournament, is going to be towards FCA.
Of course, and you can bet Four Corners Radio will be there sponsoring and helping you guys out however you need it. So,
Fantastic.
Of course. Now I just want to leave off with two questions that are fun and easygoing. So the NFL right now, who are your top 5 wide receivers playing in the game if you had to pick them?
Top wide receiver.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't watch football.
Oh, there it is.
I know you might be thinking this guy's on the screen. If my son was here, you could ask me.
I was gonna, yeah. He could actually, you put it in the chat right now, see if he says it. But
Oh man, let me think about it.
or how about this? An easier question: the top 5 players you played with. And
Top 5 players I played with.
yeah, and
Both sides of the ball.
both sides of the ball. Let's hear it. I kind of want to hear it. I want to hear both sides.
Wow. Huh.
See, I said it was going to be easy.
I mean-
Now it's going to be harder.
I mean, quarterback wise, Peyton Manning.
Of course.
He's my number 1. Quarterbacks. Wide receiver, Fitzgerald.
Oh, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's up there. Let's see who's out there. Running back wise, who we got? There's a number of guys. Sean Alexander, I'm a big fan of his as well. Man, I'm drawing a blank on players. I think it would be that.
How about the guy that tackled you?
Ryan Dalton.
There you go.
There's a number of guys out there. Oh man.
There you go. Hey, I'll let you off on that one. That's good. But Cliff, thank you so much for coming and helping me out with this podcast and everything. It's been a pleasure. I do want also the last question. Hit us with your favorite Bible verse, because I know you have one. Galatians, and I'm sorry I don't know the chapter and the verse, but if you don't mind telling the audience and the live stream right now what the Bible verse is and why it means.
My favorite verse is actually Proverbs 3:5 and 6.
Okay.
It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path." So this talks about trusting in the Lord, with all your heart. And as you lean on Him and acknowledge Him, He's going to direct your path. We're all on a path. As we lean on Him, He's going to direct that path that we're on. So it's always my favorite scripture, and it's a reminder, something that I read constantly that helps me along this journey of life.
And on that note, amen. That's all I can say. But thank you guys for coming out here at Anchor Bar in Leesburg, Virginia, right by the Wegmans. Please come see the best wings in town, as well as Stuck Up Clothing, finest fashion money can buy. Follow them on Instagram. Follow us on the Four Corners Network on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Cliff, one more time, where can people find you and Christian Fellowship for Athletes?
Yeah, let's go to our website, www.fca.org. You can learn more about our upcoming event, May 20th, Celebrity Pro Am Golf Tournament. You can learn more about how you can get involved with FCA here in our county.
Absolutely, and we'll put that on our website as well, and our Facebook and our Twitters as well. So from me, Michael Shaduti, this is Cliff Russell. Stay breezy, stay easy, one love. Thank you guys for coming out.